Bitcoin is at the edge of breaking down, guys. We are again at this critical support level at $91,000. We're gonna have a look into the indicators, guys, because currently it's still not looking too great, but I still expect at some point a very big rally and of course a big bounce, because we are of course in a crucial support level right now. So we're gonna have a look into the indicators, guys. We're also gonna have a comparison to the US dollar dominance that is going higher of course right now, and maybe also have a look into some smaller altcoins as well, guys. So welcome everyone on board. Make sure to be subscribed on this channel, guys. Thank you very much for your great support. We are hitting over 3,300 subscribers, so thank you very much for your great support. And of course we have currently a $100 giveaway running, the $100 giveaway that we do with every 1,000 subscribers. I'm gonna probably select in a video later today the lucky winner of the $100 giveaway. So this is the last chance, or the last day to participate on this giveaway, guys. So always make sure to be subscribed here so you don't miss out also on future giveaways, especially the next one that we're gonna do at 4,000 subscribers. And yeah, so make sure to be subscribed here and also join my other social media platforms, because sometimes also there I'm announcing whenever I do new giveaways or other things that I don't have time to do a video. Like here, for example, on this video you have to comment here on Twitter. I put it right at the top. So there you have to comment, leave a like, and of course also be subscribed so you don't miss out on future giveaways and other posts, of course. Then I have also a BitChute, Odyssey account, X, Discord and so on. Sign up everywhere, guys, so you don't miss out on anything. And of course, today we're gonna start with Bitcoin. Just remember, guys, that everything in this video is no financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just sharing you my own opinions, my own price analysis and market observations here in the crypto space. And also when it comes to new hyped upcoming cryptos, if you want to give it a try, like Bitcoin Hyper, for example, that is now over 28 millions here in the pre-sale phase. Also here on Femex, you can see that Bitcoin Hyper is getting more and more attention here. Then of course check it out with the link in the video description if you want to get on board. So we're gonna start here straight with Bitcoin on the daily time frame, guys. And remember that you can of course trade everywhere you want, whenever we go down or up. If you are expecting the next big moves for Bitcoin to be incoming, or if you think that there is a good trade setup, you can of course always trade the event, going long or short here for Bitcoin. Especially on Bybit, this is an exchange that I'm using since many years. You can sign up with my link to get extra deposit bonuses, but Bybit is definitely one that I prefer, even though you have to do KYC. If you prefer to not do KYC, then of course I have other exchanges like Maxi Global, KC Exchange, BitUnix and so on that you can try out, because everywhere there you don't need any KYC. And for Bitcoin, guys, before we're gonna dive here straight into the daily time frame, first, very important, on the weekly time frame, we are currently extremely oversold. And my bearish target for the next bear market is at around $60,000 to $50,000. And if you think that Bitcoin is trading right now at around $91,000 and maybe could even drop down to 80K at the end from let me pull out this quickly, from the current price level to the 200 weekly moving average, it's just another 37% price drop. So if you look from where we are coming from, it's more or less the same. So in my opinion, for the next bear market, since we didn't have this euphoric phase right now, even if we would enter into a bear market and from this price point we're gonna dump another 30 to 40%, at the end it doesn't really matter that much. If you think that Bitcoin is here for the long term, Bitcoin is here to stay, Bitcoin will in 10 years probably go to 500,000 or 1 million or whatever price target, doesn't matter at the end. But we all know that Bitcoin will go to much higher prices, at least in my opinion. Of course, no financial advice, but for me, Bitcoin is the best asset in the world. And I'm always DCing into Bitcoin. But right now, slowly, we are coming to price levels that at the end, it doesn't really matter. Even if we go down to the 200 weekly moving average at 55 or 60K, it's just a 30 to 40% price correction, guys. It's not anymore that bad like before, where we had the previous cycles minus 90% drops after another 90% drop and things like that. So times has changed, especially because also now we didn't have this euphoric phase. If it would have been at 200K and now we are trading at 90K, then of course I would be scared and the sentiment would be much different. But we are coming just from 120K and now we are at 90K. And even if we enter into a bear market next year and we drop to 60K, it's still not that bad, guys, because we have been in bull runs where we were at 20K and we dropped down to $3,000. So those were really the hard times. So now at the end, it doesn't really matter that much anymore because we are already trading at much lower levels. We already had that 40% drop here almost. Now we're at around 31% drop. But even if we drop another 30%, it's not that bad at the end. I mean, it's okay. You're gonna lose short-term some money if you realize the losses. But if you don't realize the losses and you just DCA into Bitcoin and you just hodl through, then at the end, it's not that bad, even at this price level where we're trading right now. Even if you expect the bear market down to 60K in 2026, I mean, the upside potential for Bitcoin from here is much greater than the downside next year. And if you DCA just into Bitcoin every now and then, at the end, you're going to have a very good entry point, in my opinion. Because if you zoom out here on the monthly time frame, this is the monthly time frame for Bitcoin, and you can see where we are coming from. I have to zoom out so much because the low is so far away here. And you can see what happened with every correction that Bitcoin had so far. Even if we do like this, at some point we're gonna have again that exciting time, this euphoric time for Bitcoin, these big pumps and so on. Maybe it will come back in another cycle. Maybe in this cycle we didn't have that, but it will come back for sure at some point. Of course, nothing is guaranteed, guys, no financial advice. But I'm just telling you that once we're gonna have a cycle with this euphoria phase like we had also in the past, where maybe people will need to flee into Bitcoin, then you're gonna see again those big moves to the upside. Maybe in this cycle we skip that, maybe. It is possible. But at the end, at 90K or at 60K, it's more or less the same. At the end, it doesn't really matter, because if Bitcoin is going to have a million and much higher levels, at the end, this doesn't really matter. And that's why here on the weekly time frame, guys, I just want to tell you, we are extremely oversold. Of course, at some point we're gonna have a bounce, maybe even to resume the bull run, or at least have a bounce to retest important resistance levels. I mean, now we have, even if we see a bounce, and of course we have a lot of resistances at 105K, 110K, here up at 120K and so on. We have a lot of resistances, of course, where we eventually could get a dead cat bounce before we roll over. But at the end, this is just matter for the next coming weeks and months, not for the next coming years. So if you anyway are buying Bitcoin for the long term, it doesn't really matter, because we are coming slowly into levels where I think it's not that big of a difference if you're investing for the next 10 years to buy now at 90K or at 50K. I mean, if you bought here at 130K, I would say yes. I mean, it was a coin flip here. Big breakout into blue skies, or of course rejection and come down to test important support levels, maybe even enter into a bear market before we had higher. But at this stage, slowly it's starting really to become almost bear market territory, where anywhere I would expect more or less the low for the bear market. I mean, if we enter into a bear market, I expect the low somewhere between $60,000 to $50,000, not lower than that. Of course, no financial advice, guys, but this is where, of course, I would go again all in. And now slowly, if we continue to drop lower, I just think about to DCA into Bitcoin again heavily, because we are entering basically into bear market territory areas where also in the past was always a great buy opportunity. Also like here, always as soon as we had this huge meltdown, like a waterfall, like we're seeing right now, if you just DCA'd every now and then into Bitcoin here, starting from like 35K down to 15K, you would have gotten a very good average entry point, and then at the end, on the way to the upside here, you would not need to think about where to buy Bitcoin, because you already bought and you already DCA'd into Bitcoin. So that's why. This is what I wanted to tell you guys. We are slowly entering into territory where it's like bear market low territory, slowly. Of course, from 90K to 60K, it's still a drop, but at the end, it doesn't really matter that much. And now on the daily time frame, of course, we are still seeing some signs of bottoming out, but we still don't have any kind of confirmation signals here in my indicators. So even though we are still in oversold condition, so far I don't get that ultimate buy opportunity and buy signal that from now on we're gonna bounce here. That's why I'm still waiting here a bit on the sideline. I want to see some daily closes still above $91,000, above here and not below. And then I think that a local low is in, and that we are in here for a nice run up, probably to test the death cross that happened here at around 110K. So I think that very soon we're gonna see that. Also, if we have a look into the US dollar dominance, here we have a lot of bearish divergences now on the daily time frame in extreme overbought conditions. So also here, at some point, we most likely are coming down to test important support levels before we head higher. because on the weekly time frame you can see all indicators are shifted to the upside, and we have here potentially a big breakout to the upside above the 200 weekly moving average. But we had a couple of fake outs also in the past, and all other moving averages are below the 200 weekly moving average. So even if we shoot up here, we still can come back down to retest important support levels before we had higher here eventually, because technically we are seeing right now a breakout to the upside from this falling wedge, and this is basically the confirmation of a bear market right now. So we will see what happens. For now, all indicators are shifted to the upside. That is of course bearish everywhere, looking for the next coming weeks and months, but it doesn't mean that we're gonna go straight straight down in a straight line. It just does mean that things are looking really bearish at the moment for the next coming months, maybe for 2026, yes. But at the other hand, as I told you guys, we are at 90k. Maybe we're gonna have a bounce to 110k, something like that, and we still have time to have some cash on the sideline to buy back into the next bear market. But now, if we continue to drop lower and bleed out here down to 80k or 70k, at the end, if your target is 60k for the next bear market, then we are almost there already. So that's why I think that a big bounce or even a big bull run could still be in front of us if that happens, because we are now slowly coming down to those territory where Bitcoin could potentially bottom out in the next bear market. But of course, time will tell, and it also depends what happens here with the next big move, because I think that a big bounce is incoming very soon, and that bounce will tell us if we enter then into the euphoric stage where Bitcoin is going then to much higher levels, or if we just get a dead cat bounce, big rejection somewhere, and then enter basically again into a big waterfall like we have seen here in the last couple of weeks. So be subscribed, guys. I keep you updated, of course. I think a big bounce is incoming, but in my indicators, I'm still waiting basically for that buy signal to appear. So far, nothing is really confirmed. Yes, it is about time that we're gonna get that bounce based on the daily time frame and also based on the weekly time frame. Even here on the RSI, you can see that currently we're dropping below our support level. So at some point also here we're gonna have a big bounce. So if I adjust it here a little bit to those touch points, you can see that we are really touching now here the support trend line, and at some point we're gonna most likely have a rally into the resistance trend line before we go lower, or of course also break out higher. So this is something that I'm watching out right now, guys, and that's why we are in a make or break point, and I think a big bounce is incoming very soon. We are in extreme oversold condition, and therefore of course I'm expecting at some point a big bounce. So bear with me, guys. Make sure to be subscribed here. Of course, we're gonna I'm gonna update you again about new hyped upcoming cryptos for next year as well, like Bitcoin Hyper that raised now over 28 millions. You can see that a lot of money is floating into those new pre-sales that are extremely hyped right now, like MaxiDoge, Bitcoin Hyper, Pepe Note, even Subdi, which is a new AI creation tool. You can check them out here with the links in the video description. Check them out, guys, because currently they are mooning. A lot of people are converting probably a lot of Ethereum into those coins with high upside potential. Of course, also with high risk because they are new coins that are launching, but also with much more higher upside potential than existing altcoins right now. So we're gonna see what happens, guys. Make sure to be subscribed here. I keep you updated. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned, and we're gonna see us all in the next one. Bye for now.